Hey guys, in this ASMR video, we're going to take a quiet journey through history. Tonight's story will slowly guide us into a special time, the Jazz Age, also known as the Roaring Twenties. Before we begin, let me know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? And what time is it for? You right now? Maybe it's late and you're winding down, or maybe it's early and you're just starting your day. Either way, I'm glad you're here. We'll visit places where everything felt new. Tall buildings, hidden bars, quiet cafes. You'll hear the hum of city life, but through the softest lens, gentle, calm, and relaxing. So just sit back and let your mind drift. This is your moment to slow down. Let the Jazz Age begin. The wind moves slowly down the quiet street, brushing past the corners of old brick buildings. There's a soft hum in the air, something new, something different. Like the world has taken a deep breath and is finally ready to exhale. It's the 1920s, and everything is just beginning again. Imagine yourself standing on a street corner in a city that feels both familiar and new. The old is still here, the horse-drawn wagons haven't all vanished yet. But beside them, sleek, black motor cars are rolling by, quiet and low, to the ground. Their engines purr like distant thunder. You can hear the faint tapping of polished shoes on the pavement. The pace of life is picking up, but it hasn't forgotten how to move slow. You see a newsboy folding up his stand. His cap is too big, but he wears it with pride. He tosses a newspaper to the side, and it floats gently to the curb. On the front page are quiet headlines about peace, new laws, and music. After years of war and loss, people are learning how to smile again, carefully, softly. And in that smile is something else. Hope. It's the end of the Great War. Soldiers are coming home. Some of them are tired. Some of them are changed. But most are simply trying to find normal again, to hear laughter, to sit in silence, to listen to music instead of gunfire. And that's what the Jazz Age gives them. It gives them rhythm. It gives them style. It gives them space to breathe. You walk slowly past a lamp post. It flickers, not a gas lamp, but something newer. Electric light. You glance up, and there it is, the soft, warm glow of something invented just a few decades before, now lighting the sidewalk in gold. You feel safe in that lie. In a window, behind glass, someone is listening to a gramophone. You can't hear it clearly, just the faint trumpet, slipping through the cracks of the door. It's jazz. It's smooth and a little wild around the edges, but it has a rhythm that pulls you forward. It's music meant to be felt in the chest. Music that makes the heart sway. And in this quiet part of the city, it floats like perfume. A train whistle sounds in the distance, long, low, and echoing off the buildings. That sound used to mean war, but now it just means movement. People riding the rails to find work, or family, or dreams. The cities are growing. Chicago, New York, Detroit, and beyond. There's something stirring in the streets. And yet, there's still calm if you listen closely. You step inside a cafe. The bell above the door rings gently. The tables are small. The coffee is warm. A man in a soft gray suit is reading a book in the corner. A woman with pearls around her neck laughs softly with a friend. The world hasn't gone loud yet. Not here, not in this hour. There's still time for whispers and waiting. There are new sounds everywhere. The shuffle of cards at the next table. A spoon swirling sugar into tea. A match striking. The pop of a cigarette lighting. They sound so simple, so ordinary, but they fill the space like music. The Jazz Age isn't always loud. Sometimes it lives in the little things, like how a hand moves across a tablecloth, or the way a feather hat brushes the shoulder of a passing guest. The roads are changing too. Where there was once dust and mud, now there are paved streets, painted crosswalks, and blinking signs. They flash softly, like fireflies trapped in glass. One says radio tonight. Another says dancing. Upstairs. It all feels new. It all feels alive. Outside again, the air is cool. A soft breeze curls down the alleyways and up toward the rooftops, where rooftop gardens bloom above brick and stone. The sky is dark now, but in the Jazz Age, the city doesn't sleep. It just lowers its voice. You hear a soft saxophone playing in the distance. Maybe from a nightclub. Maybe from someone practicing alone. Near a window, it drifts down like a lullaby, painting the night with sound. There's something else happening, too. a quiet shift in how people see themselves. The war has shaken everyone. They're searching for meaning, but also for fun, for freedom. The women are changing their clothes, cutting their hair short, choosing comfort over rules. Men are loosening their collars, taking off their hats, dancing in public without shame. You watch two young people step out of a department store. Their hands are full of paper packages tied with string. She wears a dropped waist dress. He has slick back hair and a laugh that sounds brand new. They're talking about a show they saw, a song they heard, a dream they're chasing. You can't hear the words clearly, but the feeling reaches you anyway. Further down the street, a street lamp hums. It flickers gently. A man in a dark coat leans against it, humming a tune that doesn't quite have words. He tips his hat to you, and you nod back. Strangers are softer in this time. There's something about the way they speak, the way they hold the silence between words. It makes the world feel more connected. Back at home, someone sits by the window with a notebook, writing slowly. A letter maybe, or a poem. The pen scratches across the paper, and the only other sound is the slow ticking of a wall clock. In this new age of fast cars and jazz records, there is still space for stillness. There is still space to pause. Now imagine the night deepening. A low fog starts to roll in over the streets. The neon signs glow brighter in the haze. There's one last couple dancing under a corner awning, their shoes tapping gently on the sidewalk. The music from a hidden radio spills out into the open. Nobody rushes. Nobody hurries away. You lean against a brick wall for a moment. The night air cools your skin. You take in the world around you, the mix of old and new, of memory and invention. The jazz age is here, and it isn't just parties and loud music. It's gentle progress. It's quiet confidence. It's learning to live again after the noise of war. As we walk through this time, slowly and softly, remember, everything has a rhythm, even stillness. So stay with me. Let your mind settle. There's much more to see and hear and feel. The moon hangs quiet over the skyline now. Its silver light touches the rooftops and shines down softly on the streets. Below, the city doesn't sleep, not really, but it does slow down. The noise thins. The rush becomes a hum. Somewhere, far off, the last trolley rumbles over metal tracks. You can hear it only faintly, like a distant memory. Down the alley, a lamplighter finishes his route. In some parts of the city, old gas lamps are still being used. The man carries a long pole and walks slowly, stopping at each post to lift the flame and lower the glass. You can hear the quiet click of the latch, the soft hiss of the flame catching. One by one, the lamps glow orange. His footsteps echo on the cobblestones as he moves. There's comfort in these routines, in the way things continue, even as the world changes. You hear the swish of a broom as a shop owner sweeps her front step. You hear the turn of a key in a heavy lock, the sound of a door closing gently. These are the sounds of the day winding down. But not everyone is heading home. In another part of the city, soft footsteps move toward a basement entrance, hidden below a bakery. It's a speakeasy, quiet from the street, but alive behind its thick wooden door. There's a knock, then a pause. Then the door opens, and the sound of jazz pours out like warm honey. Inside, the air is full of music and whispers. A trumpet plays slow and smooth. A woman sings in a low, silky voice, backed by a string bass and a piano that dances gently behind her. The lights are dim. The people sit close. Laughter hums under the sound of glasses touching, ice clinking, and cigarette tips glowing like tiny lanterns. You slip inside. You take a seat. No one asks questions here. It's not about who you are, it's about how you listen. The jazz age is full of rules being broken softly, quietly. Prohibition has closed the bars, but people still find places to gather, to feel alive. They drink carefully, laugh easily, and sway to the rhythm of something freer than before. A waiter walks past, his shoes nearly silent on the wooden floor. His white towel is folded neatly over one arm. His voice, when he speaks, is gentle, just enough to be heard above the music. He takes an order, disappears, and reappears moments later with a glass that fogs gently in the candlelight. In a corner, two writers lean in close, their heads nearly touching. One scribbles something into a leather notebook. The other nods slowly, tapping a rhythm on the table with his fingertips. They speak in low tones, sharing ideas. Maybe a new story, maybe a line of poetry. This age, the Roaring Twenties, it isn't only about parties. It's also about ideas, about feeling, about being awake to every small moment. Outside again, the wind has picked up a little. It moves through the narrow streets like it's searching for something. A feather from someone's hat floats past, carried along by the breeze. It spins once, twice, then lands gently near your feet. A newspaper flutters on a stoop. The headline says something about modern women, about flappers and dance. Hulls. You remember the girls you passed earlier today, with bobbed hair and short skirts? Their joy was soft but real, and their style said something new. That life didn't have to be lived quietly just because it always had been. A Model T rolls past slowly. Its tires bump over the uneven stones. You catch a glimpse of the driver, a young man, with rolled-up sleeves and a wide grin. He's tapping the steering wheel like it's a drum. He's headed somewhere. Maybe to a dance, maybe to nowhere in particular. Sometimes, in the jazz age, just being out in the night is enough. You walk again, past an apartment building with open windows. From one, soft radio music floats down. From another, the clack of typewriter keys keeps time like a metronome. Someone is writing late into the night. Someone is dreaming. Someone is living quietly while the world changes outside. You reach a fountain in a small city park. The water flows gently, and the sound is steady and calming. Around it, benches sit empty, except for one, where an old man feeds crumbs to pigeons that have not yet gone to sleep. He hums a tune you can't quite place. It sounds like something from before the war, something soft and full of longing. The city is layered now, old and new sitting side by side. Horses still clop past in some areas, pulling carriages of people who don't want to give up the past. But above them, a plane moves silently across the night sky. It's small, and barely more than a shadow, but it's there, reminding everyone that the future is climbing higher. You follow the sidewalk back toward your building. Your shoes make a quiet tap-tap sound as you go. You pass a bakery, where the smell of bread has started to rise. The baker inside moves like a shadow, kneading dough with slow, strong hands. Even now, the city prepares for morning. The 1920s are often remembered for loud things, for flappers and shouting and the roar of jazz. But under all of that is something softer, a quiet shift, a slow change, the kind that moves like fog or candlelight. You can feel it, more than you can name it. It's in the way people look at each other a little differently now. It's in the way strangers, not hello, just once, and then move on. You hear the quiet buzz of a neon sign coming to life. Open all night, it says. The hum is constant, like a low voice, singing just beneath the surface of the night. Above you, an apartment window glows softly. Inside, someone turns a page of a book. Someone else pours a drink. A cat stretches across a windowsill. The city breathes, calm, slow, deep. You turn the corner and head home. The doorman nods as you pass. The lobby is quiet, just the soft ticking of a wall clock and the rustle of a newspaper being folded behind the desk. Upstairs, your room waits. The lamps are low. The record player sits ready, the needle gently lifted. You walk to the window and look out one more time. The sky is just beginning to lighten. Not quite dawn, but not fully night anymore either. And in that in-between, the jazz age lives, quiet, warm, glowing. Here in the hush of the morning, you feel something more than noise. You feel style, rhythm, and rebirth. You feel the echo of a time when the world decided to begin again, but didn't rush. A time when change came softly, like music, behind a closed door. So let the record spin. Let the city sleep. We have more to explore, together, in this gentle journey through time. The morning light spills gently through the tall windows, casting soft golden streaks across the carpet. It's still early, quiet. The city has not quite stirred yet. But inside this room, a long, narrow dressing room with a full mirror, something is beginning. Let's take a quiet walk through the fashion of the 1920s. We start with a hat, a cloche hat, to be exact. The word cloche means bell in French, and that's just what it looks like, round, smooth, and shaped closely to the head. You can hear the soft slide of it being lifted from its hook. Felt light and warm, it fits snugly over short, bobbed hair. The sound of hair brushing beneath it is faint but comforting. This is the kind of hat a woman in the city might wear as she steps into the world. Down below, her shoes are small and pointed, with delicate straps and tidy buckles. They make the gentlest tapping sound as she walks across. Wooden floors. Not rushed, never rushed, just calm, measured steps. She reaches for a string of pearls next. One by one, they click softly as she lets them fall around her neck. There. Weight is just enough to feel, but not enough to pull. They shimmer faintly in the morning light, cool to the touch. The pearls are long. They sway gently as she moves, swinging with the rhythm of her day. Her dress is simple, but it says so much. A flapper dress, not tight at the waist like before, but loose, free, made for movement. It falls just below the knee, with tiny beads stitched across the hem. You can hear the beads shift as she turns. The fabric is light and smooth, maybe silk, maybe chiffon, and it rustles softly as she brushes it flat. With her hands, this isn't just a dress. It's a quiet act of rebellion. Just a few years ago, she'd have worn a corset, high collars, layers. But now she's choosing comfort. She's choosing ease. She's choosing to move the way she wants. Nearby, a gentleman prepares for the day as well. His room smells faintly of shaving soap and polished leather. Hey, radio plays softly from another room. Low jazz, nothing too fast. Just a slow piano and the sigh of a saxophone. He starts with his shirt, crisp, white, starched. You can hear the buttons being fastened one by one, the soft click and tug of thread. Over it, he slides on a vest, tailored and smooth. Then come the trousers, high-waisted, held up by quiet suspenders that stretch just enough when he moves. The snap of the clasps is faint but clean. His shoes are waiting near the door, two-tone, leather, already polished to a soft gleam. He slides his feet in, the leather creaking ever so slightly, and then bends to tie the laces, slow loops, gentle pulls. The knot tightens with a soft tug. On the table nearby lies his pocket watch. It rests on a folded handkerchief, its gold face catching the light. He picks it up. You can hear the tiny click as he opens the lid. The second hand ticks quietly. He checks the time, then slips it into the pocket of his vest, the chain looping gently across the buttons. No rush, just routine. He drapes a long coat over his shoulders. Wool, maybe tweed, with wide lapels and deep pockets. The weight of it settles slowly. The fabric brushes softly as it shifts. His fingers find his hat, a fedora with a wide brim, and he places it just so, tilting it slightly. His reflection looks back at him, calm, composed, ready for the day. Across town, a seamstress runs her fingers across bolts of fabric. Velvet, satin, cotton. The feel of each one is different, some smooth like water, others soft like moss. Her scissors snip gently through cloth, each cut deliberate, each line precise. She hums quietly as she works, the same tune every morning. Her needle slips in and out, a soft rhythm you can almost fall asleep to. Thread pulls gently behind it. A spool rolls slowly across the table. Pins click into a small glass dish. She is the one who brings style to life. Not loud, not flashy, but careful. With her hands, she helps the city dress itself. One button, one hem, one quiet stitch at a time. Back in a department store, a clerk adjusts a mannequin's collar. The mannequin stands still beneath soft electric lights, dressed in a striped blouse and pleated skirt. The clerk smooths the fabric with both hands, pulling it just right. She steps back, tilts her head, then straightens a small brooch pinned near the collarbone. Behind her, the soft ding of an elevator bell echoes across the marble floor. A pair of heels click gently as a shopper steps out, her gloves tucked into her purse, her eyes scanning the racks. She pauses at a row of coats, touches one, feels the lining, the smooth silk inside, the soft outer wool. Everywhere in this decade, fashion is not just about appearance, it's about feeling. The feeling of lightness after heavy years. The freedom of clothes that move with you, not against you. Even children's clothes are changing now. No more stiff collars or buttoned-up layers. Boys wear knickers and sweaters. Girls wear drop-waist dresses with tiny bows. They run more, play more, laugh more, because they can move more freely. In the background, you hear the brushing of a hand across a rack of dresses. Each hanger clicks as it slides. The fabrics whisper against one another. Lace, silk, cotton, feathers. The textures mix like music. On the street outside, people pass by one another like threads in a weaving. A woman in gloves tips her head in. Greeting. A man lifts his hat. The wind picks up and coats rustle. Scarves flutter. A child's shoes patter quickly past. In a quiet upstairs apartment, a woman adjusts the clasp on her beaded purse. The metal clicks as it shuts. Inside are just a few coins, a lipstick, a folded handkerchief. She dabs a bit of powder on her cheeks, then presses her lips together softly, checking her reflection. She ties a ribbon at her neck, satin, and lets it fall gently against her collarbone. Down the hall, another woman prepares for a night out. Her dress is longer, dark navy, with layers that shimmer faintly in the low light. She steps carefully into her heels, fastening the small buckle with her fingers. A fur stole, soft and pale, wraps around her shoulders, warm and light. The mirror catches her full reflection. She looks for a long moment, not in vanity, but in calm. Her earrings, long and thin, swing gently as she turns her head. She listens. Somewhere in the city, a piano begins to play. She smiles softly. And now, the city is ready. The city is fully awake now, but still gentle. Sunlight moves slowly down the brick walls and across wide sidewalks. The soft hum of daily life continues all around, not rushed, just steady. And with each step, the people of the 1920s walk through their world dressed in quiet style. Let's wander back into a shop, not one of the grand department stores, but a smaller boutique, one with smooth, wooden floors and tall mirrors along the walls. You hear the soft creak of the door, and a small bell chimes gently as you step inside. The air smells faintly of cedar, fabric dye, and lavender water. A woman stands behind a counter. She's folding scarves, carefully, slowly, each corner smoothed out just right. Silk whispers beneath her hands as she stacks one on top of another. Pale green, soft rose, deep navy, colors from a garden at twilight. On the wall behind her, narrow shelves hold gloves. Short gloves for the day, long gloves for the evening. White, cotton, light leather, and lace. She reaches up to straighten a pair. The leather makes a soft sound as it bends. Beneath her fingers, a young man enters next, taking off his hat as a quiet sign of respect. His hat is soft brown felt with a wide band. He holds it in his hands, turns it once, then places it gently on the counter. He's dressed neatly, not formal, but not casual either. His jacket is a simple cut, but well-tailored. The buttons are smooth and dark. His shirt is tucked in, and his tie, thin and patterned, lies flat against his chest. The edges of the tie are straightened once more before he speaks. He's shopping for a new waistcoat. He says, one for evenings, something that fits well and feels right. The shopkeeper nods and gestures toward a rack near the back. The hangers click softly as she slides one vest aside. Then another. He chooses one with a quiet nod. Dark charcoal wool, with a slight sheen to the buttons. He runs his fingers along the hem, slow, thoughtful, then drapes it over his arm. Back at home, another woman is sewing by the window. She doesn't sew for others, just for herself. Her room is small but warm. A potted plant leans toward the light. Her sewing machine hums softly, not fast, just steady. She's working on a blouse today, pale cotton, gathered at the shoulders, with a line of small buttons down the front. She stops every so often to press the seams flat with her fingers, smoothing them gently. The sound of fabric moving under her hands is like paper turning slowly in a book. Each stitch she makes is tiny, even, placed with care. There's no rush. She sews like others might knit, or write, or cook, to feel calm, to keep close to something quiet. Nearby, a dresser drawer opens. Inside, carefully folded stockings, soft and thin. Silk and rayon, rolled gently too. Avoid snags. A hand reaches in, smooth fingers, careful touch. One pair is lifted and held up to the light. The fabric stretches, then falls slowly like water. On a chair rests a small compact mirror, round with a gold trim. A click, then it opens. The mirror is slightly worn but still clear. Beside it sits a lipstick tube, narrow and deep red. The cap comes off with a soft tug. A single turn, and the color rises. She applies it slowly, then presses her lips to a folded tissue. At a nearby train station, another kind of dressing happens. Travelers in coats, hats, and gloves pass by under high ceilings and iron beams. A porter walks briskly but quietly, his uniform pressed, his shoes shine to a soft glow. Luggage wheels roll across the marble floor. The sound echoes softly, steady, and rhythmic. A woman adjusts the veil on her hat, a thin layer of netting that falls just below her eyes. Her suitcase is small, with leather corners and a monogram. Her coat is long, belted at the waist, and she tugs on her gloves one finger at a time. A man with a newspaper under his arm waits near a pillar. He wears a scarf tucked neatly into his coat and holds a cane, not for walking, but as part of his look. It's simple, with a silver tip. He shifts it slightly as the train whistle sounds far in the distance. The clothes of the 1920s weren't just fashion, they were little statements, quiet ones. They told others who you were or who you wanted to be. A well-pressed collar, a shine on your boots, the length of your skirt, all said something, even if nobody spoke. Let's step into a men's barber shop next. The door opens with a chime, and the scent of shaving cream and bay rum fills the air. The chairs are heavy and made of leather. A man leans back as the barber dusts his neck with a soft brush. The scissors snip gently. The razor glides. A towel is warmed and placed softly over his face. In the corner, a suit jacket hangs on a coat rack. Its lapels are wide. The inside is lined in dark satin. A pocket, square, neatly folded, peeks from the breast pocket. It's white, crisp, like a finishing touch. On the other side of town, in a ladies' parlor, women gather for afternoon tea. Their dresses are soft shades, lilac, cream, pale blue. Their sleeves are short now, their skirts light and flowing. When they sit, their dresses settle around them like petals. A small fan turns lazily near the window. A lace shawl lies across a nearby chair. One woman fingers the edge of a beaded clutch, running her thumb gently over the tiny stones. They catch the light as they move. Even the children seem dressed in a new kind of comfort. Boys wear newsboy caps and short pants. Girls wear loose cotton dresses with little collars. Their shoes buckle at the side, and they run without tripping. Ribbons flutter behind them as they skip past. The sounds of the city change with the clothes. You hear less of stiff fabric and more of soft movement. The swish of a dress, the faint tapping of heels, the gentle clink of cufflinks, the brushing of a coat sleeve. Dressing was still important, still careful, but now it felt like a choice. A way to feel new, a way to breathe a little. Easier after years that had felt so tight, so hard, so dark. As the sun begins to lower, people change again. Day clothes are exchanged for evening wear. Dinner jackets, dark and pressed. Evening gowns, flowing and shimmering in low light. Jewels sparkle, not loudly, just enough. A woman puts on a bracelet, the clasp clicking softly as she fastens it behind her wrist. A man pulls on his gloves, one finger at a time. The button snaps shut. His collar is stiff, but clean. His tie a bow. Tonight is tied neatly. They step out, not loudly, not hurriedly, just stepping into the evening. The city lights glow softly behind them. Street lamps flicker. Car headlights drift past like fireflies. They walk together, dressed for the moment. Ready for music, for laughter, for quiet talk. For whatever the night might bring. Their clothes whisper with each step. This is the jazz age, and it's dressed for its time. It's night now in the city. The sky has gone dark, but not fully black. A quiet blue still rests at the horizon, just behind the tall buildings. The stars are waiting behind a thin layer of clouds, and the moon hangs like a pale coin, high and gentle. You're standing at the corner of a 1920s avenue, not too busy, not too still. The soft glow of gas lamps lights the street in a yellow wash. They flicker just a little, as if nodding to each other in the breeze. You hear it now, the breeze. It rolls gently through the narrow alley beside the buildings, brushing past coats and loose paper wrappers. Your footsteps are soft on the cobblestone street, slow and steady. Tap, tap, tap. The soles of your shoes echo. Gently as you walk, the sound bouncing between the brick walls. There's no rush here, just a long stretch of street. Ahead, quiet and waiting. The buildings rise on both sides. Old red bricks, iron fire escapes, arched doorways, and rows of windows, some lit, some dark. Laundry lines hang between the alleys above, still swaying slightly from the day's wind. A streetcar rattles by in the near distance. Its bell rings once, low and slow, then fades. You see the faint flash of light from its windows as it turns the corner and hums away down the avenue. The hum is soft, a mix of gears, wire, and electricity, blending with the stillness of the night. Near a lamppost stands a small newsboy, still holding a few crumpled papers. His cap is pulled low, and he leans against the post, one foot bent behind the other. He yawns, tired. The street lamp above him flickers once, then steadies. The boy calls out once more, but his voice is thin now, worn out from the day. Extra, extra. His satchel is nearly empty, just a few copies left. Headlines from a busy morning now feel far away in the hush of night. He shifts his weight, then slowly walks off toward home, his shoes scuffing softly over the stones. Steam curls up from the street grates near the center of the avenue. You pass one now. It hisses gently, like the city, breathing. The warmth rises and moves past your coat, soft and slow. A thin mist hangs near the sidewalk, and the golden streetlights glow through it like warm lanterns in the fog. Somewhere above, on the second floor of a building, a soft light glows from a window. Inside, a woman is brushing. Her hair, long, smooth strokes. The sound is faint, but you almost hear it. The rhythm of her arms moving. A soft song plays on her radio. Faint jazz, just the notes. It drifts out through the open window, mixing with the air. Farther down the avenue, you walk past a closed bakery. The smell of bread still lingers, faint but warm. The shutters are down, but a small light glows inside. You pause for a moment. In your mind, you can still picture the shelves full of rolls and sweet buns, the glass counter lined with pies, the hum of voices during the day. Now only silence. Your footsteps continue. They're the only ones for now. The night has emptied the streets of noise, but not of feeling. There's a calm that holds everything here. The buildings, the lamplight, the soft flutter of curtains above. Across the street, a police officer walks his beat. He moves slowly, tapping his nightstick softly against the corner of a wall as he passes. Just once. Tap. His coat is thick and dark. He tips his hat to someone you can't see, maybe a doorman, maybe a woman returning home. Then he keeps walking. His boots click against the sidewalk, steady, dependable. You pause at the corner. A soft jazz melody drifts from somewhere, maybe a rooftop party, maybe a nearby apartment. The saxophone hums low, the piano dances lightly behind it. The notes fade in and out with the breeze, like a whisper caught in passing. On the opposite side of the street, a cat walks the top of a low brick wall. Its paws are silent. Its tail flicks once. Slowly, it pauses, looks at you, then continues along like it has somewhere quiet to be. The streetcar tracks glint under the lamp's light. A puddle reflects the shape of a neon sign, soft red and blue, blinking slowly, spelling out the word cafe. The door to the cafe is closed, but the chairs inside are still stacked high. On the tables, a single person sweeps the floor back and forth, dust collecting in a small pile near the front. A man in a long coat walks past, hands in his pockets. His hat is low. He walks slowly, not watching you, just moving toward the end of the block. His footsteps match yours. For a few seconds, you walk in rhythm, too. Travelers in the quiet dark. You stop near a newsstand, now closed for the night. Its wooden shutters are pulled down, and the signs for tobacco and candy hang motionless. One last newspaper flutters in the wind near the curb, its corner trapped. Beneath a bottle cap, a taxi cab rumbles by, its headlights bright and sweeping. It drives slowly, searching for a fare. Inside, the driver leans on one elbow, his head tilted slightly toward the open window. Smoke from his cigarette trails behind him as the car disappears down the hill. You move again, past a block of small shops, a shoemaker, a dry goods store, a tailor. All dark now. Their display? Windows show what the morning will bring. Shoes lined in rows, buttons in neat glass jars, a dress half finished on a wooden form. Even in sleep, the city is preparing for the next day. As you pass another alley, the sound of a piano echoes faintly, muffled by distance and walls, but still soft and full. Someone is still awake, somewhere. A song being played not for a crowd, but just for the self. Slow and kind. A gentle breeze returns, brushing against your coat. You tuck your scarf a little tighter. The city isn't cold, just cool, just crisp. The kind of night where breath shows in puffs, and collars are turned up just a little. Overhead, the wires that power the streetcars buzz faintly, always alive. They cross each other in spiderweb lines. Between the rooftops, catching the light like thin strings. A sign creaks slightly on its hinges above a closed pharmacy. Another figure approaches from the far end, a woman, walking slowly, holding her handbag close. Her heels tap, lightly. Her coat sways behind her as she passes, nodding to you with a soft smile before continuing on her way. Everything here feels softened by night. Even the sharp lines of the buildings seem rounder. Even the sounds are wrapped in warmth. Footsteps muffled, voices distant, doors closing with gentle clicks. You reach the end of the street now. There's a small public park, barely lit. A stone bench sits beneath a tree. The tree's leaves barely move in the wind. You sit for a moment. The bench is cold but clean. The view is still just city. Lights flickering in the distance, a distant horn from a boat on the river, a dog barking once from somewhere unseen. This is the city at rest, not asleep, just hushed, holding its breath between hours, watching its people move quietly. Through it, each in their own rhythm, each wrapped in soft layers of coat and silence. And you're part of it now, just another quiet figure walking slowly through the calm of the night. You rise slowly from the bench in the small park, your coat brushing softly against the stone as you stand. The leaves above you rustle gently, just a few catching the night air. Somewhere nearby, a fountain murmurs in the dark. You can't quite see it, but you hear the soft rhythm of water falling over itself, steady, comforting. There's a lamppost near the path that leads out of the park. Its soft glow casts long shadows across the grass, stretching the shape of your legs behind you. The trees sway just slightly as you begin to walk again, your footsteps quiet on the gravel path. As you return to the avenue, the city seems even calmer now. The breeze has faded a little, and the street is nearly empty. Just the low hum of distance, a car engine somewhere far off, the flutter of a hanging sign rocking gently against a wooden doorframe. You pass a row of brownstone homes, quiet behind black iron fences. Small stairs lead up to wide doors, and the windows are dark except for the soft golden light of a lamp in one corner. Through one window, you catch the sight of someone reading, an older man, spectacles low on his nose, a book open in his lap. He turns a page slowly, and you imagine the quiet sound it makes, the soft crackle of old paper. Farther down the block, you hear the faint shuffle of a janitor's broom. You follow the sound until you see him, bent over slightly, pushing dust and leaves into a pile near the front of a closed office building. He wears a heavy wool coat and a knit cap. The only sound is the slow, even sweep of bristles on the sidewalk. Sweep, sweep. Pause, sweep. You nod as you pass. He doesn't speak, just lifts his chin once in silent greeting. Around the corner, there's a small diner, lights still on, though the chairs are already on the tables. A woman behind. The counter wipes down the surface with a damp rag, moving slowly, methodically. She hums to herself a slow, familiar tune. You can't hear all the words, but the sound is warm, like something sung while washing dishes at home. A man sits at the far end of the counter, still nursing a cup of coffee. His hat is beside him. His coat is thick and patched at the elbows. He stares at the window, watching the empty street. The steam from his mug rises slowly, fading into the warm ceiling light above. You continue walking. The neon sign above the diner buzzes gently, casting soft green light on the sidewalk. It spells out, open all night, but you know they'll close soon. The streets are telling you it's time to rest. In the distance, a clock tower chimes. 1, 2, 3 slow chimes. It's 3 in the morning now. Not many are awake, but the city doesn't sleep, not really. It just gets quiet, and everything begins to whisper. You pass a laundry shop with wire baskets still stacked in the window. One single sock lies inside a basket. Forgotten. The sign on the glass door reads, "Back at 6 a.m." in crooked letters. The bell above the door swings, gently, catching the air, but makes no sound tonight. On a low rooftop nearby, you spot a jazz band just finishing up. They're quiet now, packing instruments into their cases, laughing softly among themselves. One of them, the trumpet player, pauses to look out over the city. He takes in the buildings, the glowing windows, the empty streets below. Then, with a slow breath, he puts the lid on his case and follows the others inside. You come upon a narrow alley where a soft glow spills from a basement window. The smell of soup, faint and warm, drifts into the street. A woman inside the kitchen is stirring something on the stove. Steam rolls past the glass, fogging the window. Her shadow moves slowly. Spoon, stir, taste, repeat. It's quiet cooking. Simple, slow maybe, for someone just coming home. As you walk past the alley, you hear your own heartbeat for a moment, strong but calm. Just steady, like the rhythm of the city itself. Everything here moves in slow time, like a waltz played in half tempo. Ahead, you spot a speakeasy, its door hidden behind what looks like a delivery entrance. But you know the signs. The faint music slipping through the cracks. The single lantern hanging over the door. A man leans near the entrance, smoking. He glances at you, but doesn't speak. His eyes are quiet, watching. Inside, you can just barely hear the sound of a piano, low and steady. It isn't a wild party tonight, not this late. Just a few final songs, soft jazz notes drifting under closed doors. A voice laughs quietly inside. Glasses clink. The smell of cigars and perfume floats into the night. You don't go in. You just keep walking, feeling the music fade behind you like footsteps left in snow. On the next block, you find a barber's shop, its pole still slowly spinning. Red and white stripes swirl round and round. Inside, a man sweeps hair from the floor, finishing his final task for the day. The sound is light. Brush, brush. The chairs are empty now, the razors cleaned, the towels folded neat. Above the shop, the soft sound of a baby crying floats from a small, open window. The cry isn't loud, just a whimper. Then you hear a mother's voice, gently humming, rocking the baby back to sleep. The lullaby mixes with the city air and settles gently on your ears. You stop for a moment beside a low stone wall. You rest your hand on its cold surface. The texture is rough, old, familiar. A tree beside you shivers in a breeze that wasn't there before. The leaves tickle against each other. SHHH, SHHH, SHHH. Down the hill, you see the glow of the river, wide and slow. A single tugboat slides across the water, its light is steady. Beam. You hear its horn, deep and distant. Then nothing but the water lapping against the shore. The road curves here, leading past the waterfront. You follow it. The streetlights get a little farther apart. The shadows stretch longer, but there is still a calm in it. Still a warmth. You're not cold, just wrapped in the hush of the hour. You pass an old post office, its front steps worn smooth. The metal drop box stands nearby, a soft rattle as the wind nudges the lid. You hear the faint sound of an envelope sliding inside, someone making a late delivery. Farther along, a clock repair shop sits tucked between two buildings. Its window is full of ticking clocks, small ones, tall ones, golden ones, all keeping time together. Not loudly, just a soft choir of tick, tick, tick. There's a chair beside the window, and behind it, an old man dozes with a blanket on his lap. His tools are still on the table. A magnifying glass, a pair of tiny pliers, a thin cloth. You wonder what time he stopped working, or if he just drifted into sleep with the clocks. You turn one last corner, where the road narrows again, leading back toward the first stretch of avenue. It's familiar. Now, the bakery, the lamplights, the steam rising again from the grates. The city has circled you in its arms tonight, not as something cold or distant, but something breathing, alive with memory and light and slow footsteps. You walk the last few feet, your shoes once more tapping gently on the cobblestones. Tap, tap, tap. The sound has been with you since the beginning. And now, with the night stretching on and the city nearly silent, you stop once more beneath the lamppost. Its glow rests softly on your shoulders. You look up at the sky. The clouds have cleared. The stars are there now, tiny dots spread across the blackness. Steady and still. The city does not sleep. It dreams, and you were part of it. You turn the brass doorknob with a gentle hand. It clicks softly. The door to the small apartment opens inward with a whisper, the hinges creaking just slightly, not from disrepair, but age. Old wood, well lived in. The kind that knows how to sigh when the evening air rolls in. As the door closes quietly behind you, a warm glow greets you. Not too bright, just the soft amber of a low lamp in the corner. Its fabric shade glows like the sun through honey. The light doesn't fill the whole room. It leaves soft shadows in the corners, letting the quiet settle in. Wooden floors stretch under your feet, bare and smooth from years of walking. They creak just a little as you step farther inside, but not in protest. It's a welcoming sound, like an old friend leaning forward in a chair to say hello. This apartment is just one room, really. Not large, not fancy, but it's full of small, quiet things, each one placed with care. A square rug underfoot muffles the sound of your steps now. It's worn but clean, colored in soft blues and faded burgundy. On it rests a low table with a single ceramic vase. Inside it, one white tulip, slightly leaning to the left. In the far corner, a tall wooden shelf leans against the wall. It holds books stacked both upright and sideways, titles faded on cloth spines. Some books have small pieces of paper sticking out, tiny bookmarks, notes left long ago. A pair of reading glasses sits atop a thick hardcover, lenses just a bit dusty. Next to the bookshelf, a narrow desk hugs the window. Its surface holds only a few items, a neat stack of handwritten pages, a fountain pen with its lid off, and a cup of tea still steaming softly in a thin china mug. A chair has been pushed back slightly, as if someone just stepped away to stretch their legs. The window itself is open a crack, and the breeze brings in the scent of something distant, maybe bread from a bakery downstairs or perfume drifting from a neighbor's hallway. The curtain sways gently in the draft. Its edges brush against the window frame with a sound like a whispered hush. On the desk, the pages are covered in tidy handwriting. No crossed outlines, no mess. Just line after line of quiet thoughts. A journal entry, maybe. A letter never sent. The pen beside it rests in a small porcelain tray, its nib catching the light. You pause near the center of the room. To your right, there's a soft armchair, deep blue velvet, worn down at the arms, with a folded blanket resting over the back. A cushion sits neatly in its place. Someone lives here with care, but without hurry. Beside the chair stands a small side table. A phonograph rests atop it, its brass horn tilted like it's listening. A record spins slowly now, and you can hear the faint crackle of it turning. Then the gentle hum of soft jazz, quiet and low. No voices, just piano and trumpet, slow and sweet. The music doesn't ask for your attention. It's content to play in the background. It fills the room the way lamplight fills. A teacup, near the windowsill, curled up tightly, is a ginger cat. Its tail wraps around its paws, eyes half closed in the glow of a sunbeam slipping in between the curtains. The cat shifts once, a long, slow stretch, then rests its chin back on the wood. You hear it breathe, quiet, rhythmic, a gentle presence in the room. The air is warm, not hot, just the kind of warmth that comes from thick curtains, old wood, and the company of calm things. The kind of warmth that doesn't make you sweat, it just lets you feel still. You walk slowly toward the small kitchen nook, just a few steps from the reading chair. There's a kettle on the stove, still warm. A bit of steam curls upward from the spout. You lift it with care, feeling its smooth weight in your hand. The handle is warm, the water inside still gently hot. On the counter, 2 teacups sit side by side, one used, one clean. You pour the water slowly into the waiting cup. The sound is soft and steady, the gentle pour of hot water meeting ceramic. A single swirl of steam rises up, brushing past your face. You place the kettle back, carefully. There's no rush. Everything here asks you to take your time. The shelves above the stove hold a row of small tins, tea, sugar, flour, spices, each one labeled in faded script. On the lowest shelf, a small tin music box rests between 2 cookbooks. It doesn't play now, but you know that when it does, it hums a lullaby, slow and tinkling, like a memory sung through an open window. You turn to look back at the room. By the door, a row of hooks holds a wool coat, a wide-brimmed hat, and a cloth tote bag. The kind of bag that might carry a book or some fresh fruit from the street market. On the floor beneath it, a pair of well-polished leather shoes sit neatly side by side, their laces tucked in. You walk back toward the desk and pick up the cup of tea left there. You lift it slowly, the ceramic warm against your fingers. You take a small sip. It's floral, a little sweet, with a touch of lemon. The kind of taste that doesn't shout. It lingers, easy and soft, like the music still playing from the phonograph. You set the cup down again, gently. The clock on the wall ticks softly. You hadn't noticed it until now. Its face is round and cream-colored, with dark, wooden trim. The minute hand moves like a whisper. Tick, tick, tick. Outside the window, you hear the soft sound of a car passing, tires hushing across the street below. Then quiet. Again, a neighbor's radio turns on for a moment, playing a few notes of a dance tune, then fades. Back near the shelf, you kneel down to look at the lowest row of books. Some are novels. Others are collections of poetry. A few are journals with leather covers, worn and handled often. One of them is open, spine cracked, with a feather pressed flat between the pages. A keepsake. You hear the cat shift again. A soft yawn, then a single paw stretched out toward the sunbeam. The floor creaks again as you rise. You walk once more toward the chair. You sit slowly, the cushion giving under your weight. It sighs a little. The blanket on the back slides slightly down your shoulders. You don't move it. It's warm, and it smells faintly of lavender. An old paper. The jazz continues. A soft trumpet now, slow and round. Each note falling like rain on a still lake. You close your eyes for a moment. The apartment doesn't move. It waits with you. You sit for a little while longer in the deep blue velvet chair. The room feels alive in the quietest of ways, not loud or busy, but full of presence. A space that breathes slowly with you. You can feel the room holding still, like it's keeping a secret it's in no rush to tell. You let your fingertips trail along the armrest. The velvet is worn down in places, smooth from years of use. There's a softness to it, like an old blanket warmed in the sun. The chair makes no noise as you shift slightly, pulling the blanket a bit closer around your shoulders. Somewhere above the ceiling, a faint floorboard creaks. The neighbor upstairs, perhaps, moving from one room to another. Their steps are slow, not disturbing, just a reminder that others live gently here too, tucked into their own little lives. The music playing from the phonograph changes now. The crackle of the needle shifts into a new rhythm. The melody grows slightly brighter, still soft, but playful. A piano dances gently beneath a single clarinet line. It feels like afternoon sunlight pouring in through gauzy curtains. You stand and walk back to the desk. The tea you poured earlier has cooled now. You lift the cup once more. The temperature is room warm, mellow, and still comforting. You take a slow sip, then return the cup to its saucer with a soft click. You glance at the pages scattered across the desk. There's a calmness in their layout. Not hurried, not messy. Each one filled with careful, curved handwriting. Sentences left open-ended. Some with small ink smudges where the writer paused too long, perhaps lost in thought. You let your hand rest over the paper for a moment. The page is smooth, and beneath it, the wood of the desk feels cool and solid. A quiet surface that has seen many evenings just like this. Next to the desk, there's a small side cabinet with drawers. You open the top one gently. It glides with a soft wooden sound. Inside are tucked envelopes, wax seals, an ink bottle with a blackened rim, and several folded letters. Some have postmarks. Others are unsent, still waiting. One envelope is addressed simply, "For later." You close the drawer quietly. As you rise, you hear a soft tick and a mechanical shift behind you. The phonograph record reaching its end. The room stills again, the music pausing for a breath. You walk over to the side table, kneel slightly, and lift the tone arm. With careful fingers, you place it back into its C. The record spins once, twice more, then slows to a stop. You pause to admire the brass horn, catching the warm lamplight on its curves. It's slightly dented near the rim, but polished. A piece of music history that still sings when asked. You slide the record from the turntable and tuck it into its worn paper sleeve. You pick another one from the short stack nearby, this one labeled in careful handwriting, "Evening Serenade." You place it on the turntable and set the needle down. The soft crackle returns. A few moments pass, then a soft cello begins to hum, low and smooth. A warm ribbon of sound across the floorboards. You glance at the clock again. Its quiet ticking keeps time, but never rushes it. The hands have crept forward without you noticing, but nothing feels lost. Time here is thick and slow, like syrup sliding down a spoon. You turn and walk to the small shelf near the phonograph. On top of it sits a framed photograph, a sepia-toned picture of a young couple. One wears suspenders, the other a simple blouse with a brooch. They're smiling gently, the kind of smile that stays in the corners of the eyes. Beside the photo, a tiny glass bowl holds marbles, green and blue. Perhaps they were toys once. Now they catch the light like little globes. A small folded napkin sits beside them, with embroidered corners, flowers stitched in, dusty rose thread. It looks handmade. You walk toward the window and open it just a little wider. The breeze is cooler now. Evening has settled in properly. You can smell the city's hush, a mix of stone, trees, and distant cooking. Somewhere far below, someone is roasting meat. The scent drifts up, soft and smoky. The curtains flutter gently, brushing against your hand. You lean on the window frame and look out. Across the street, more windows are glowing with soft light. You can see silhouettes, a man reading a newspaper, a woman brushing her hair in front of a vanity mirror, a child playing with blocks on the floor. The world beyond this room moves slowly too. You watch the street lamp flicker on, its yellow-orange light pooling in a circle on the pavement. Just below it, a man in a hat walks by, hands in pockets, coat pulled close. His footsteps echo faintly on the cobblestones, then disappear into the dark. Back in the room, the cat stirs again. It lifts its head, yawns wide, and stretches both front legs out long. Then it stands, arches its back, and hops down from the windowsill with a soft thud. It pads slowly across the floor, curling itself beside the warm radiator near the door. You smile, watching it settle again. Tail wrapped tight, eyes blinking slowly. The cello from the phonograph plays its final note, then fades. The needle crackles on the empty groove once more. You leave it for a while, letting silence settle again. You cross the room to the bookcase. One book stands out, its cover a deep green, with golden lettering across the spine. You pull it from the shelf. The pages crackle gently as you open it. The first page has a name written in fountain pen ink. Anna May, 1923. You turn the pages slowly, letting your fingers glide along the edges. The smell of old paper rises up, that dry, clean scent that only books can hold. The story begins with a walk by a river. You read a few lines, then close the book gently. You tuck it under your arm and return to the chair. Sinking down into the cushion once again, you pull the blanket over your lap. You rest the book in your hands, but don't open it yet. Instead, you listen. The apartment is quiet again, but not silent. There's still the ticking of the clock, the soft sigh of the wind, the shifting weight of the cat, the faraway hum of a passing streetcar. You breathe in slowly. The air is filled with the scent of tea, wood polish, and faint lavender, the kind of scent that lingers even after you've gone. You close your eyes for a moment. You imagine the walls of this apartment holding stories in their plaster. Laughs that happened here. Quiet tears. Letters written late at night. Music played softly on rainy afternoons. Dances with no audience. Long evenings spent doing nothing at all, except being still. It is a quiet life, but not an empty one. Here, in this small jazz-age apartment, every sound is soft. Every object chosen. Every shadow carries weight. Nothing shouts. Nothing rushes. Even time slows down to listen. And for now, that's all you need. The night has fallen fully now, laying its dark velvet across the rooftops. The streets feel quieter, but not asleep. Just hushed, calm, as if the city knows what kind of evening this is. You walk slowly down a narrow alley tucked behind a quiet row of brick buildings. There are no signs here, no street lamps. Just the sound of your footsteps on damp stone and the distant hum of jazz music, like a secret, whispered through the walls. You pause beside a plain black door. There's nothing special about it. No light above, no window. Just a faint worn spot near the handle, where many hands have knocked before. You raise your hand and give 3 soft taps. Then one more. There's silence for a moment. Then a small slide of metal opens from the inside. You hear nothing, just the faintest pause. Then the panel closes again. A soft click follows as the door unlatches. It opens gently, with no creak, and you step through. You're welcomed by warmth, not just from the air inside, but from the glow. Everything is low-lit and golden. The hallway you enter is narrow, lined in red velvet and soft wood paneling. Your shoes land gently on a thick carpet. Runner. You hear the music a little louder now. A slow, steady rhythm of drums, bass, and a trumpet humming. Something smooth and sweet. You walk forward. The hallway widens and leads you into a hidden world beneath the surface of the city. This is the Speakeasy, a place built for quiet escape, soft music, and secrets. The ceiling is low, the lights dim. Tiny lamps sit on each table, shaded in amber or red. Their glow reflects in crystal, glasses, and polished brass railings. The wallpaper is deep green with gold lines, curling like vines. There's a hint of smoke in the air, sweet and slow burning. Not harsh, just soft like a memory. You move toward an empty booth in the corner. The seat cushions are plush and warm, wrapped in worn red velvet. You run your hand gently across the table. Smooth wood, polished with age. A small candle in a glass holder flickers just enough to cast dancing shadows. A server appears without a word, dressed in a white shirt, black vest, and a soft smile. They place a folded menu in front of you with quiet hands, then disappear just as smoothly. The menu is simple, handwritten in neat, looping letters. Cocktails with names like Moonlight Whisper and Velvet Hour. No prices, no explanations, just names, as if every drink is a story. You close the menu slowly, let it rest on the table, and look around. In the far corner of the room, a jazz trio plays softly. A stand-up bass, a slow trumpet, and a drummer with brushes. Instead of sticks, the rhythm is steady and low, like a heartbeat. The trumpet moves lazily over the beat, bending notes as if they're being poured like syrup into the room. The audience listens quietly. No one claps. No one shouts. The whole room just leans in, swaying slowly with the music. The conversations are soft, the laughter low and warm, like a blanket pulled around the shoulders. You watch a couple dance beside the stage. They don't spin fast or show off. They just move together, slow and close. The woman's flapper dress catches the light with every step, little beads sparkling like raindrops. The man's shoes glide across the floor. His fedora sits, tilted, never slipping. They move like they've done this before, like the dance is something they speak better than words. You hear the clink of glass nearby. A bartender slides a tray across the counter, full of coupe glasses and short tumblers. Clear, amber, pink, soft. Drinks, strong drinks, bittersweet sips. Ice cubes roll gently as a hand reaches out to lift a glass, and the sound is so clear, like a tiny bell in water. You sit back in your booth and close your eyes for a moment. The room breathes around you. You can feel the gentle pulse of the bass through the floorboards. The trumpet hums beside your ear, and the whisper of fabric brushes past as someone walks by your table. Every sense is full, but not loud. Everything is rich, but quiet. You reach into your coat pocket and pull out a small journal. The cover is soft brown leather, creased at the corners. You set it on the table, open it slowly, and lift the pencil tucked inside. You begin to write. Not about anything urgent, just words, fragments, a feeling, red light on velvet, trumpet like a sigh, laughter from behind a curtain. Your hand moves slowly. The pencil makes a soft scritch on the page. You pause, then underline a word. You lean back again, sip from a glass you didn't even see arrive, chilled and sweet, with a twist of lemon resting gently on the surface. You close your eyes again, just for a second. You hear the door open in the distance. Another soft knock answered. Another guest stepping into this slow, glowing world. They're greeted with a quiet nod, a hand guiding them toward an empty table. The speakeasy welcomes them, like it welcomed you, with no questions, only warmth. Someone in the back laughs. Not loudly, just a breathy, joyful sound, like a friend remembering something funny. It drifts up into the ceiling, beams, joining the trumpet in the air. You can almost picture the memory behind it. A joke from earlier, a shared look across a room. You notice the chandelier above, not fancy, but charming. Small crystal droplets dangle and sway gently when someone walks past. They catch the red light like drops of ruby water. They don't tinkle, just shimmer. Your server returns, this time with a plate of sliced fruit and soft cheeses, set down gently with a quiet nod. They refill your glass without asking. Their hand is steady, their steps light. You thank them softly, and they smile, already gone. You take a bite. The pear is cool and sweet. The cheese soft, creamy, grounding. You chew slowly, carefully, as if you don't want to disturb the rhythm of the room. It feels like this night could stretch forever. Like outside time doesn't exist. Like somewhere above this space, the city spins on, but down here, under amber lights and velvet shadows, the world holds still in the best way. You think of all the nights that came before, different people, different laughter, different songs. This room has held so many evenings like this, gently folded into its walls. Each one quiet, each one secret. And now, you're a part of it too. You stir the ice in your glass slowly with a thin straw. The cubes spin gently, brushing the edges with a soft clink, like stones in a shallow stream. The drink has grown colder, smoother, as it sits in your hand. You take another slow sip. Citrus, with just a trace of something herbal. Quiet flavor, like it belongs in this room, made for slowness. The trumpet shifts key. It's a mellow tone now, something warm and wandering. The musician leans forward slightly, eyes half closed, letting the notes drift out like smoke. His fingers move so softly on the valves, you can barely hear the effort behind the sound. His music flows gently through the tables, around shoulders and glasses, over bent heads. It clings to the corners and seems to rest in the folds of the curtains. The dancers pause for a moment. The woman tilts her head back, laughing without a sound. Her earrings catch the light. Her partner leans closer, saying something only she hears. Their hands never leave each other, even in stillness. They begin to sway again, slow and steady. The floor beneath them is worn smooth by nights like this. Their steps echo just faintly, a soft tap, a drag, a slide. Shoes brushing wood, heels catching rhythm. Nothing rushed, nothing loud. A whisper of perfume drifts past you. Someone walks behind your booth, the scent warm and floral, like roses in time. You glance up and catch a glimpse of a woman in a dark green dress, satin trailing gently behind her. She moves toward the bar with a graceful, unhurried pace. Her heels make soft clicks, spaced just far enough apart to feel like a rhythm. The bartender nods, already reaching for her usual. You watch them pour the drink, clear liquid, a drop of something red, a twist of orange. They stir it slowly with a long-handled spoon. The ice spins in the glass, and when it stops, it rests completely still. A single bead of water runs down the side. She lifts the glass and walks away. The crowd hasn't grown louder, just fuller. Every booth has someone now. Some are talking in low tones, some listening to the band. Others simply sit in the soft half-light, nursing a drink and staring at nothing in particular. The walls don't echo in here. The velvet, the curtains, the drapes, all of it keeps the sound soft and close. Your pencil lies still on the journal beside you. One page half filled with short phrases. You touch the edge of it gently, feeling the slight tooth of the paper. The graphite has left a shimmer under the lamplight. It feels like a memory. Already, the band changes tempo. Now it's a swing. Still slow, not the fast, bright kind, but something with a gentle sway to it. The bass hums. Beneath it all like a cat purring beside a fire. The snare brushes sound like wind through lace curtains. The trumpet mutes itself with a cup, giving it a distant, whispering sound. Two new dancers take to the floor. They move a little looser, a bit of flair in their steps. The man tips his hat and twirls the woman, just once, gently. Her dress spins outward and settles again. Her shoes tap the rhythm lightly, not demanding attention, just staying in time. The clinking of glasses continues all around. A soft cheer, not loud, just a to us from a pair of friends near the back. Their glasses touch gently, and you hear that perfect note, the sound of thin crystal meeting, soft and sweet. A booth near yours gets a plate of olives and warm nuts. The scent is earthy, roasted, familiar. Another gets a small plate of chocolate slices, rich and dark. A server refills a table's water carafe with a quiet pour. The trickle of water is soft and steady, broken only by the sound of the server adjusting the coaster underneath. You notice the wallpaper behind you now. Deep burgundy, lined with tiny gold threads, like veins running across. Fabric. The texture looks like silk, but with more weight. The lamp on your table casts a long oval of light that moves. Every time you shift your hand, you begin to sketch in your journal. Not words this time, just the shape of the lamp, the folds in the curtain, the band in the corner. A simple line. Drawing, no details, just mood. You shade gently, your pencil making soft sounds as you work. There's no rush. You press lightly. The paper doesn't protest. It's a good page. You pause, stretch your fingers, and breathe in deeply. The air is full of warmth and soft scent. Tobacco, wood polish, fresh lemon. Not sharp, just balanced. Like the inside of a jewelry box kept closed for years, then opened quietly in the dark. A man walks past your booth, humming softly with the music. His shoes scuff the floor gently. He's holding a newspaper under one arm, folded once. The headline is from earlier in the day, something about the markets or a mayor. But down here, none of it matters. Time doesn't press here. It moves, but slowly, like honey slipping off a spoon. No one checks their watch. No one gets up in a hurry. Even the servers walk with soft, practiced grace, as if each movement is part of the night's rhythm. A soft breeze flows through as someone opens the front door again. Just for a second, it brings the cool scent of night rain and cobblestone from the alley. The door closes gently behind the new guest, and the air settles again. You hear a quiet voice beside you, not speaking to you, but nearby. A man telling a story, his tone even and low. He talks about a woman he once met in Paris, how she used to paint with oils and drink espresso in the afternoon. The woman listening smiles slowly and nods. She says nothing, just sips her drink, crossing one leg over the other beneath the table. The storyteller leans back, folding his hands over his stomach. The music continues. There's a moment, so still, when it feels like the whole room takes the same breath together. The trumpet holds a long, aching note. The bass drops out for a beat. Even the soft conversations seem to hush. And in that 1 second, you feel like this place, this room, this night could stretch on forever. And maybe it does. Maybe long after you've gone, someone else will sit in this booth. Another pencil will move across another page. Another laugh will ring out behind another curtain. The music will change, but it will always be jazz. Always slow, always smooth, always soft enough to feel like something you dreamt. You finish your drink and set the glass down gently. You run your fingers across the rim, once and then again. The coolness has faded. The ice has melted to half. The lemon twist still floats there, curled like a ribbon, slowly turning in the melted silence. You stand slowly, collecting your things. The journal goes back in your coat pocket. The pencil slips beside it. You nod once toward the band. The trumpet player nods back with a small smile. You walk past the bar. The woman in the green dress is now talking quietly with the bartender. They laugh together about something small, something ordinary. Her glass is nearly empty. The orange twist rests neatly on a napkin, no longer needed. The hallway greets you once again, still narrow, still lined in velvet. You reach the black door. Your hand touches the handle. You turn it slowly, step out, and let the door close quietly. Behind you, the alley feels darker now, cooler, but the music lingers in your ears. The soft lights remain behind your eyelids, and your steps, slow and steady, echo across the stone. You walk away from the speakeasy, but not really. Part of you is still in that booth, beside the little lamp, sketching the folds of velvet and listening to a trumpet hum like it knows every quiet thing you've never said. And maybe that's what this night was for. The music begins with a slow breath. A piano rolls in gently, the notes soft, like fingertips tapping over glass. A bass thump follows, round and steady, like a heartbeat just beneath the surface. Then the brushes arrive, sweeping quietly across a snare drum, like wind sweeping dust across a hardwood floor. It's late, but no one feels tired yet. The room is dim, but not dark. Hanging lamps glow softly, gold and low. Their light falls across the polished dance floor in long, quiet shapes. The floor itself holds warmth, its wood worn smooth by hundreds of quiet steps. It remembers every dance from nights before. A pair of dancers takes the floor first. The man wears a soft, loose white shirt. His sleeves are rolled just below the elbows. The woman with him wears a dress that moves like water, thin, silk-like fabric that sways with every tiny shift. They don't speak. They simply nod, once to each other, then begin. Their feet move gently, not too fast, not too planned. A slow swing step. Right, left, pause. Left, right, glide. Their shoes whisper against the floor, nothing sharp, just the soft drag and lift of practiced feet. Her heels make a faint ticking sound, like a clock slowing down. A second couple joins. Their movements are a little lighter, more playful. They smile as they sway, keeping their steps small and easy. His suspenders shift with every dip of his shoulders. Her curls bounce with each turn. They don't watch each other closely. They trust the rhythm to guide them. More join in. The dance floor becomes a gentle swirl of quiet movement. Everyone holds space for one another. No bumping. No crowding. Just soft footsteps flowing like ripples across still water. The trumpet joins the band now. It starts with a low, mellow tone, a note that stretches and bends slightly at the end. Then it picks up, brightening. Just a touch. It never becomes loud. It simply lifts the room gently, like opening a window and letting the breeze in. The dancers adjust. Some lift their arms a little higher. Others step just a bit wider. The music carries them, and they let it. You can see the way they listen, not just with their ears, but with their shoulders, their hands, their breath. There's something easy in their expressions. No one's trying to impress. There's no spotlight here. Just the quiet joy of moving in time with someone else. Just being together in a room where nothing else matters. In the corner of the room, someone hums along softly. Their voice barely rises above the instruments, more felt than heard, like an echo wrapped in a whisper. A third couple joins the floor, older than the others. Their steps are slower, but precise. They don't need to look down. There, I stay on each other. Every movement feels like a memory. The saxophone takes a turn. It sings for a moment, not sharp, but smooth, gliding between notes like a hand tracing the edge of a table. The lights catch the curve of the horn, and it gleams softly. The woman in the green dress is here again. She dances with someone new tonight. Their steps are gentle, swaying together like tall grass in an evening breeze. She smiles without speaking, her eyes half-lidded, lost in the music. Her partner moves with easy grace, letting her lead when she wants, stepping in gently when the moment calls. Their shoes leave light marks on the floor, dust in the shape of movement. From where you sit, you can hear the soft creak of the floorboards. It's not loud, more like a sigh. The kind of sound old wood makes when it's lived a long, quiet life and is happy to do so a little longer. You close your eyes for a moment, and in the dark behind your eyelids, the music becomes even clearer. You feel it in your chest, in your fingers. The beat is slow and steady. The melody wraps around you like a soft blanket. Even without seeing, you can picture the room, the shifting shadows, the gliding steps, the stillness between each breath. You open your eyes again. A man spins his partner gently, then catches her hand and pulls her back close. They smile, cheek to cheek, swaying. The lights above them flicker slightly, not broken, just breathing. A waitress passes near you, her shoes making soft pats against the floor. She carries 2 tall glasses of lemonade. The ice clinks gently as she walks, and a thin trail of condensation marks her path. At a nearby table, 2 older women sit with hands folded over their laps. They don't dance, but they nod in time with the rhythm. One of them whispers something to the other. They both smile and let out a short, soft laugh. You glance at the small table in front of you. There's a folded napkin, a glass with one last cube of ice, and a matchbook with a picture of a phonograph on the cover. You open it quietly. Only 2 matches remain. You close it again with a soft click. The music slows. The drummer switches to a softer rhythm, just tapping the edge of the snare with the tips of his sticks. The piano follows, rolling out a gentle bridge, almost lullaby-like. The dancers don't stop. They simply move closer together, letting their steps become smaller, slower. Someone in the back starts whistling along with the melody. It's quiet and simple, but it carries through the room like a thread. The saxophone answers with a low, warm line. It's almost like they're speaking to each other, a quiet conversation in notes and breath. The dance floor, now full, moves as one, not in perfect unison, but in shared energy, like a tide coming in and out. The glow of the lights above seems to match their motion, as if the room itself is breathing slowly along with them. You can hear breathing now. Not heavy, not strained, just soft exhales. Inhale, step, glide. Exhale, turn, smile. The dancers are not out of breath, they are inside it, carried by it. The song reaches its softest point. The band plays just above silence. The melody feels like it's resting, like it's lying down for a moment, arms behind its head, staring at a ceiling that never hurries. And just as the last note of the trumpet fades, there's no applause, no cheers, just a hush, a beautiful hush. Silence full of warmth. Then the piano begins again. A new tune, a little brighter, but still slow, like a new chapter in the same quiet book. And the dancers begin again. The music has shifted again. This time, the piano begins with a gentle tap of keys that sound like raindrops on a windowsill. The notes are soft and round, spaced just far enough apart to feel thoughtful. Then comes the quiet pulse of the upright bass, warm and deep, thudding like a slow heartbeat beneath it all. The dancers take their cue without words. Couples lean back into each other, then sway forward. Their steps are careful but easy, as if the music is leading, and all they need to do is follow. No one counts the rhythm out loud. They just feel it, in their ribs, in the arches of their feet, in the places where fingertips touch. A soft saxophone joins in, smooth as silk, gliding in gently from the side. It curls through the air like smoke, never sharp, never loud, just soft and full, slipping between the dancers like it knows them all by name. The floor glows under their shoes. A thin shine of dust catches the light, stirred by movement, rising like mist. Each step leaves behind a faint memory, a swirl of powder, a brush of fabric, the sound of a heel gliding before lifting again. There is a moment of stillness between songs. No one speaks. They simply pause, catching their breath, still swaying a little as if the last note is still ringing out. One couple walks slowly to the side of the room. He offers her a chair, and she sits down, folding her hands in her lap, cheeks a little flushed. They smile at each other, not saying anything, just sharing the silence. Then the next song begins. It starts with a soft drum beat, a tapping so light it sounds like fingertips on a book cover. The piano follows with slow chords, steady and sure. There's a sweetness to this tune, a gentle lilt that feels like it was written for a moment. Just like this. New dancers take the floor now. A young man with a loosened tie and polished shoes. A woman with a short haircut and a beaded dress that catches the light in tiny flashes. They move with quiet confidence, bodies close but not rushed, every step a quiet conversation. He spins her gently, and her dress flares like a bell, then settles again. From your seat near the back of the room, you watch as one couple after another drifts into the soft glow of the dance floor. Each dancer seems to be telling a story, though no words are ever spoken. There are stories in the way they lean into each other, in the way hands find hands, and feet find rhythm. There's trust here, and calm, and something gentle, like the world outside has fallen away, leaving only this moment. A quiet laugh escapes from someone nearby. Not loud, just a soft chuckle between partners who've stepped on each other's toes and don't mind. They smile, shake it off, and find their place in the rhythm again. The music forgives. So does the floor. You notice a woman dancing alone now. She moves slowly, arms folded in front of her, head tilted just slightly to the side. Her steps are small, graceful. She doesn't look lost, just peaceful, as if the music is enough company. Her shoes glide with a whisper, and her dress sways with each breath. In one corner of the room, the band plays with their heads bowed, fully inside the music. The drummer taps with a soft brushstroke. The bassist plucks his strings like he's speaking with each note. The pianist's fingers barely rise above the keys, playing not to fill the room, but to wrap it gently in warmth. The trumpet enters again, but this time it's muted. Its sound is smooth and round, like a hush in brass. The notes bend slowly, rising and falling with the dancers. One couple leans close as it plays, forehead to forehead, letting the sound carry them like a soft breeze through an open window. A man in suspenders stands near the wall, arms crossed, just watching. He taps one foot quietly, not on the beat, but close enough. He smiles to himself, as if remembering something. Then, after a moment, He walks over to a woman standing alone. No words, just a small bow of the head. She nods. They step onto the floor. Their dance is slower than the others. Maybe they're unsure at first, or maybe they just prefer to take their time. Either way, their steps soon become steady. His hand on her back, her hand on his shoulder. Their eyes never leave each other. They don't smile wide, but you can tell they're smiling on the inside. Somewhere near the door, someone lights a match. The scratch is soft, followed by a quiet flick of flame. A cigarette glows gently, and the smoke curls up, mixing with the saxophone's low notes. The smell blends with the warmth of the room. Aged wood, cologne, the faint hint of lemon from a nearby drink. A group of friends claps softly for a couple finishing a dance. The applause is gentle, more like a breeze through trees than a round of hands. But it's enough to make the dancers smile and bow just a little. Then they walk off the floor, hands still held, and sit close together at a small table in the corner. The music swells now, not louder, but fuller, like the band is giving the night one last, tender push. The bass is deep and patient. The piano plays a melody that rises like sunrise. The saxophone hums beneath it all, and the trumpet breathes soft golden lines through the haze. One last couple takes the floor. They are older. Maybe they've danced together for decades. Their steps are practiced, unhurried. They move as one, even when they spin apart. There's grace in their quiet. Every turn, every pause, every breath between steps speaks of years spent knowing how to move together. The room feels slower now. Not sleepy, just at ease. Like everyone knows the night is coming to a gentle close. Some lean back in their chairs. Others rest elbows on tables, eyes half closed, fingers tapping to the last few notes of the tune. The final chord lingers. It hangs in the air for a moment longer than expected. The band lets it breathe. Then, slowly, the notes dissolve into silence. No one rushes to speak. No one stands. It's a shared hush, a silence full of calm. The pianist lifts his hands. The drummer lays down his brushes. The trumpet player wipes his mouthpiece and smiles. The bass player leans back with a deep sigh, as if exhaling the entire night. Soft footsteps echo as people begin to leave the floor. Some stop to shake the musicians' hands. Others walk out quietly, arm in arm, shoes tapping gently on the old wooden floor. A woman picks up her coat from a hook by the door and wraps it around her shoulders like a blanket. She turns, takes one last look at the room, and steps into the night. Only a few remain. The lights are lower now, flickering softly. One couple still dances, slowly, alone on the floor. The band doesn't play. They're dancing to memory now, to the echo of music that still hangs in the air like perfume. And you sit for just a moment longer, eyes closed, breathing slow, letting the rhythm of the night stay with you. The hush, the glow, the warmth of feet sliding over smooth wood, the sound of soft jazz in the background of your thoughts. The music is gone now, but your heart is still dancing. The room is quiet now, not silent, but calm. The kind of stillness that settles in after supper is done, after the dishes have been washed and dried, and after the last light of evening has faded from the sky. Shadows stretch across the wooden floor, soft and long. The only glow comes from a shaded lamp in the corner, casting a warm circle onto the rug. A soft hum fills the room, not from voices or conversation, but from the radio. That tall wooden box sitting near the wall, its curved top and polished finish almost like a small altar. Inside, tubes glow faintly, gently warming the air. The hum is steady and low, like a soft breath being held. Then comes the crackle, a tiny static spark, followed by a pause. A man's voice fades in, distant at first, like he's speaking across time. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. His tone is smooth and even, with a calm rhythm that soothes more than it informs. It's the kind of voice made for nighttime, for quiet rooms like this one, where no one speaks while he does. The family sits close together. The father leans back in his chair, pipe unlit, just resting on his chest. His eyes are on the radio, but he's not really watching. He's listening, deeply, like the words are settling somewhere behind his ribs. The mother sits nearby, knitting in her lap, the soft clack of needles barely audible. Every now and then, she glances at the children, then back at the speaker on the radio. The kids sit cross-legged on the floor, elbows on knees, chins in hands. They are still, completely still, not bored, just fully inside the world coming through the radio's soft speaker. Their faces glow in the warm lamplight, their eyes wide but peaceful. Outside, the street is quiet. Maybe the last of the streetcars have passed by. Maybe there's a dog barking somewhere in the distance. But inside this home, the only sounds are the soft voice on the radio, the crackle of airwaves, and the gentle creak of the wooden floor as someone shifts in their seat. Tomorrow's forecast looks clear across most of the eastern states. The voice continues, slow and unhurried. There's something oddly comforting about hearing weather reports at night, even if you don't live near the places being mentioned. It's the rhythm of it, the steady list of cities, the temperatures, the soft rise and fall in tone. It feels like the world is still turning, but gently. Then there's a pause. A new voice begins, this one a woman. She's reading a short story, her tone like a whisper made of velvet. The children lean forward just a little, drawn in. She describes a country road, a porch swing, a letter written by hand. You can almost hear the swing creak, the paper fold, the wind move through tall grass. Soft music begins to play under her words. It's a piano, slow and full, the kind of melody that doesn't rush anywhere. Just a few notes at a time, like someone speaking without needing to be heard. Each note seems to fall gently into the room, like the patter of rain on the roof. The father shifts in his chair. He picks up a folded newspaper, turns the page slowly. The paper makes a soft brushing sound, like dry leaves being moved by hand. He reads without much focus, the kind of reading that's more about the feel of holding something than gathering news. The mother finishes a row of stitches, then gently sets her knitting aside. She reaches for a cup of tea on the nearby table. The porcelain clicks softly against the saucer. A faint swirl of steam rises. She sips slowly, her breath quiet as it cools. The smell of chamomile and lemon floats into the room for a brief moment, then fades. The children stay close to the floor. One lays down now, head resting on folded arms. The other leans against the side of the armchair, eyes half closed, but still listening. The story on the radio has become quieter now, the voice trailing toward a calm end. And so she waited, with the window open, listening for his footsteps in the long, silent dark. There is a long pause. Then the piano plays the last soft notes, like a curtain falling. One more spark of static. And then, silence. The family breathes out, almost as one. Not loudly, just gently. Then a new program begins. This time, it's a man again, but his voice is lighter, more cheerful. And now, friends, for those of you still awake with us, here's a little piano recital to end your day. Soft clapping plays in the background, maybe recorded, maybe not. Then the piano begins. Just notes now. No words, no story, just music. A gentle waltz, played slowly, like the pianist is playing it just for himself. Not for applause, not for a stage, but for the comfort of the keys under his fingers. Each note is clear but hushed, as if he's not pressing the keys, just touching them and letting them sing. The family listens quietly. The mother closes her eyes. The father sets the paper down and lets his hands rest on the arms of the chair. The children are still now. One asleep, the other nearly so. The room feels smaller, but in a good way, as if the edges of the world have pulled in close. No worries, no noise, just warm air and quiet music and the hum of the radio filling the spaces between breath. The soft ticking of a clock begins to rise into the silence. Not loud, just a gentle tick, 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 steady and smooth, like the heartbeat of the home. It matches the rhythm of the piano for a while, then keeps on when the music fades away. Another pause on the airwaves. Then the radio hums again, not a new voice yet, just that soft low buzz, like the room is waiting. You can almost picture the radio station on the other end. A man in suspenders, leaning into a microphone. A reel of tape spinning slowly. A light blinking on and off above the control panel. Then, the voice returns. Thank you for spending this evening with us. May your night be restful, and your dreams be kind. The static comes back for just a second, then fades out like fog pulling away from a window. Inside the home, the radio clicks softly off. The dial glows for a moment longer, then darkens. No one speaks. Not because they're holding back, just because the silence feels right. the kind that holds. Something gentle, the kind you don't want to break. The room is dim now. The lamp is turned down to a soft glow. The warmth of the radio still lingers, faint but real, like a recent hug. The wooden case feels just a little warmer then. The air, and outside, the night leans softly against the windows. You close your eyes for a moment, not to sleep, but to listen, to the memory of that voice, to the feeling of the room around you, to the hush that only comes when everyone is together and still. The room holds onto its warmth, the kind that isn't from the heater or the lamp, but from shared stillness. The radio is off now, but its presence lingers like a soft aftertaste. The faint smell of warm wood, dust heated by glowing tubes, and the smallest echo of music still hums in the corners of the room. No one moves right away. It feels like even the air is resting. The father stands first, slowly, carefully. His chair creaks gently under the shift of weight. He doesn't speak, just reaches down and lifts the newspaper from his lap. He folds it in half, one slow crease, then lays it quietly on the side table. His footsteps across the wooden floor are soft, padded by the worn soles of his house slippers. He walks to the window. He parts the curtain with one finger. Outside, the street is quiet. Still, a light fog rolls through the alley, glowing a little under the street lamp. It gives the world a soft blur, as if the whole night is exhaling. In the background, the wall clock ticks on. Each tick is light and careful, like a finger tapping gently on a wooden desk. 1, 2, 3. It's the rhythm of the house, moving time forward without hurrying. The mother rises next. She collects her knitting and folds it slowly, wrapping the half-finished yarn into a neat circle, then slipping it into the small basket by her chair. She smooths the folds of her skirt, picks up the teacup, and carries it to the little kitchen sink. Even the clink of porcelain on porcelain is soft, like a final note before silence. Then she pauses at the table. There's a small notepad lying there, and beside it, a fountain pen. She lifts the pen, uncaps it with a quiet click, and begins to write something. Not a full letter, just a note, maybe a thought, maybe a reminder. The scratching sound of the pen on paper is faint but steady. Smooth curves, little dots, ink flowing like breath. The children haven't moved much. One has fallen asleep entirely, curled up in a little ball on the floor, the woven rug soft beneath them. The other is blinking slowly, head resting against the armchair, trying to stay awake but fading like the light outside. There, breathing is slow and even. The mother walks over and gently lifts the sleeping child. Her arms move with care, knowing the balance of weight and warmth. She hums just a little, a melody so quiet it can't be named. A lullaby that isn't really sung, just felt. She carries the child to a nearby cot, tucks a soft blanket up under their chin, and brushes their hair from their forehead with the back of her fingers. Then she returns and offers her hand to the other child. A smile, a nod, no words. The child takes her hand and lets themselves be led toward bed. Soft footfalls, a tired yawn. The bedroom door closes gently behind them with a muffled click. The father remains by the window. He watches a couple walk by outside, their steps slow, close together. The woman wears a long coat, her gloved hand resting on the man's arm. They pass under the street lamp and disappear into the fog. He lets the curtain fall back into place. He walks back toward the radio, touches it once more, his hand resting lightly on the wood casing. He stands there for a few seconds, as if thanking it for its company tonight. Then he turns off the lamp. Darkness doesn't fall, it settles. The moonlight through the window takes over, silvering the edges of the room. The walls seem softer, the floor smoother. Every piece of furniture, the chair, the table, the small books stacked near the wall, looks like it's sleeping too. In the far room, the mother tucks the second child into bed. She pulls the quilt up carefully, then reaches for a nearby book on the nightstand. It's an old children's book, its spine cracked from years of being opened again and again. She flips to a favorite page. The sound of turning pages is slow and hushed. She reads just a line or two. Her voice is low, almost a whisper, just enough for the child to hear. She pauses after each sentence, letting the words settle like dust in a sunbeam. After a while, she closes the book, sets it down, and kisses the child's forehead. The little one is already drifting. Back in the main room, the father straightens a photograph on the wall. It's an old black and white picture, a younger version of himself, maybe, or someone who came before. He tilts it, just slightly, so the frame sits even. Then he walks over to the bookshelf and picks out a thin volume of poetry. He doesn't sit, just leans against the wall and opens the book with one hand. He reads a poem silently to himself. A small smile tugs at the corner of his mouth. Not because it's funny, just because the words feel good, like an old sweater, like a song you forgot you knew. Then he closes the book, places it back in its place. And finally, he heads down the hall toward the bedroom. The door closes gently. Now the house is still, truly still, but it's not empty. It holds the sounds of the evening like a memory. The radio voices, the piano music, the weather report, the laughter that wasn't loud, but warm. It holds them all in the hush that follows. The clock keeps ticking. A small wind rattles the window pane once, then fades. A streetcar passes in the distance, its wheels humming faintly, over metal rails. In one of the bedrooms, a child stirs in sleep, not from a bad dream, but from the weightless drift between dream and memory. They hear the voice from the radio again, somewhere in their mind. That quiet woman's story, the footsteps in the dark, and the sound of a piano far away. The child smiles in their sleep. In another room, a kettle is left on the stove, not boiling, but still warm from earlier. Its metal cooling clicks gently. Outside, a stray cat jumps onto a fence, walks it slowly, pauses under the porch light, and disappears into the bushes. Again, the moon climbs higher. It shines across rooftops, across alleyways, across the quiet city where dozens, maybe hundreds, of homes are, doing the same thing, resting, breathing, remembering the voices that filled their rooms tonight. And somewhere, in a distant station, a radio technician finishes his last task. He removes his headset, adjusts the dial one last time, and smiles. The last record of the night spins down slowly. A soft lullaby, meant for no one in particular, or maybe for everyone who's still listening. The airwaves grow quiet. The hum fades, and the night carries on, gentle, slow, and full of calm. Just like a dream shared by 1,000 homes and held in the silence between radio songs. The room is hushed. A soft amber glow flickers from a candle, its flames steady and low. It throws gentle light across a small writing desk in the corner. The wood is smooth and warm to the touch, with just a few tiny scratches that tell quiet stories of years gone by. The chair is pulled out just enough. A woman in a long, soft nightdress lowers herself onto the seat. She moves slowly, gently, as if even the act of sitting mustn't disturb the stillness of the evening. Her fingertips rest lightly on the edge of the desk, as though asking permission before beginning. Beside her hand sits a thick journal. Its leather cover is well worn, its corners rounded from use. She opens it carefully. The sound of the spine stretching is soft but satisfying, a whisper of a book remembering where it left off. She flips through a few pages. The edges of the paper are soft, aged, and smell faintly of dried ink and candle smoke. Each page is filled with careful cursive handwriting, lines that wander a little when thoughts were heavy, and lines that skip playfully when the mood was light. She takes a breath. Then she reaches for the pen. It isn't a modern ballpoint or fountain pen. It's an old feather quill resting in a glass inkwell that reflects the candlelight like a tiny pond. She dips the pen slowly into the ink. The dark liquid clings for a moment to the edge of the quill before dripping silently back into the well. She taps the tip, softly on the edge, 1, 2, 3 times, just enough to remove the extra. Then, the pen touches paper. The sound is light and dry at first, just the scratch of the quill's tip against the rough surface. Then the ink begins to flow steady and calm. The first word forms, then another. Her hand moves slowly, not rushed. The letters rise and fall like waves. Every stroke is part of a quiet rhythm, a kind of evening heartbeat. The candle flickers once, and she pauses to watch it, the pen hovering just above the paper. Outside the window, the wind brushes gently against the glass. It isn't cold, just cool enough to remind you it's night. A few tree branches scratch softly against the wall of the house. The world feels wrapped in a blanket of quiet. She resumes writing. Each line tells a small story, not one meant for the world, just a reflection of a thought. a hope, a memory. She writes about her walk earlier, the way the leaves looked gold in the late sunlight, how the bakery had a new smell. In the window, like cinnamon and warm crust. She mentions a letter she received, folded in thirds, edges torn slightly, from a cousin far away. She smiles as she writes. There's a kind of still joy in this moment. It doesn't shout. It doesn't even whisper. It just is. Her writing slows. She lifts the pen and sits back, reading what she just wrote. Her lips move slightly, silently repeating the words to herself. Then, another soft breath. She dips the quill again. This time, she moves to a fresh page. She reaches into the drawer and pulls out a new sheet of cream-colored paper. It's thick, the kind that holds ink well, and makes every stroke feel like it matters. This isn't for her diary. This is for someone else. She smooths the paper flat, then lifts the pen once more. Dear Thomas, she writes. The ink shines briefly before drying matte. She continues, slowly, softly. The message isn't long. It's not full of big news or heavy thoughts. It's gentle, a letter, meant to bring comfort, like a hand resting lightly on your shoulder. She tells him how the garden is doing, mentions the birds that come to the sill in the morning, a new scarf she's knitting, the little things, the quiet things. And near the end, she writes one sentence, just a little slower than the others. I miss your voice most in the evenings. She pauses after the last word, lets the ink dry naturally. The candle flickers again. Then, with practiced care, she lays the letter to the side and reaches for an envelope. The paper slides in with the softest sound, like silk folding on itself. She seals it with a dab of wax and presses a small brass stamp into it. The seal is simple, a single flower pressed into a circle. When she lifts the stamp, the wax is warm, firming slowly into a quiet promise. In the stillness, a cat enters the room. It makes no sound at first, just the soft pad of feet on wooden floors. It jumps lightly onto the windowsill, curling into a tight circle. Its eyes close before it even finishes turning. Its breath is deep and even. She smiles at the sight. Then she turns her attention back to the desk. There are more letters nearby. A small bundle, tied in blue ribbon. She unties it gently, careful not to tug. Each envelope is marked with names, dates, and soft creases where they've been opened and reread. She lifts one, opens it slowly. The paper is thinner than hers, almost translucent when held to the candle. She reads it quietly to herself. It's a letter from her sister, dated last fall. The words talk of markets, apples, the sound of rain on a tin roof. She runs, her finger over one word, home, and closes her eyes for a moment. When she opens them again, she carefully folds the letter and places it back in the bundle. She ties the ribbon once more. Double knot. A habit. Then she writes a date at the bottom of her diary page, November 12, 1926. The ink bleeds slightly into the paper. She blows on it gently, drying it with a soft puff of breath. She closes the journal. The leather creaks a little. Then she presses her palm over it for just a moment, as if sealing her thoughts inside. The candle has burned lower now. Its wax has dripped in soft curves down the side, pooling in the dish below. The flame dances smaller than before, but still steady. She leans forward and runs her finger around the base of the inkwell, wiping a tiny speck of dried ink. Off the side, she replaces the feather quill in its holder, then leans back, her body tired but her mind soft and settled. The kind of quiet tired that comes from thinking, not from doing. She looks out the window. The sky is inky now, that deep navy blue that only comes just before dawn. A single star peeks through, low on the horizon. The world is still sleeping, still dreaming, still resting in its breath. She rises slowly from the desk, taking a quiet breath as she stands. Her night dress brushes softly against the back of her legs. The room is still warm from the candle, and the scent of wax and old paper lingers in the air. She walks, with bare feet across the wooden floor, each step gentle, each movement unhurried. The envelope she sealed earlier is now resting neatly on the edge of the desk, ready to be sent. She places her hand on it for a moment, just a moment. A goodbye, maybe, or a hope. Then she turns back toward a nearby shelf. Lined up neatly are several small books. Some are diaries from past years. Others are notebooks with thoughts, letters never sent, ideas that visited her in quiet moments and asked to be remembered. She runs her finger along the spines. Softly, slowly, her finger pauses on one, a smaller book bound in green cloth. She pulls it out and opens to a page marked with a small pressed flower. The petals are faded now, once violet, now almost gray, but still intact, still whole, still beautiful in its silence. She reads a short passage from an old entry. Today I watched a robin in the garden. It didn't know I was there. I think I needed that, just to be still and let something else move freely. Her lips curl into the faintest smile. Then she closes the book and places it gently back on the shelf, as if not to disturb the flower inside. The cat stretches quietly in the window. Its back arches, tail curling high, before it hops lightly down onto the rug. It pads across the room, brushing past her leg, then settles near the base of the candle's soft light. Its purring is almost too low to hear, just a soft vibration in the air. She lowers herself to the floor beside it, pulling her knees up, arms resting loosely around them. From this angle, the desk looks smaller. The books, the letters, the quill, they all feel like pieces of a little world. A gentle one, a world meant for evenings like this. Her eyes travel to the window. The sky has shifted. No longer deep navy, but a softer blue-gray now. The first signs of morning are arriving. Not loud, not all at once, but quietly, like a hand brushing over fabric, like a whisper in a church. She thinks of the people who might be waking soon. The baker who rises before the sun, flour dusted across his apron, kneading dough in slow circles. The postman, who'll collect her letter, his footsteps steady on the stone path. The schoolteacher opening her windows to let in the early air. All those quiet lives, beginning again. She thinks of Thomas, the one she wrote to. Perhaps he'll receive the letter in a few days. Perhaps he'll read it slowly, like she writes. Perhaps he'll smile. Or maybe he'll tuck it into a coat pocket and carry it around for a while before opening it. That's okay too. That's part of the rhythm. Letters don't rush. They travel in their own time. Like thoughts, like seasons. She rises again, quietly, and moves to a narrow side table beneath the window. On it sits a small tray with a glass, water bottle, and a clean tumbler. She pours the water slowly. The sound is soft, steady, comforting. It taps gently against the glass, echoing faintly in the quiet room. She takes a sip, cool and refreshing. A pause. Then she sets it down with care. Behind her, the candle is nearly done. Its light flickers lower now, the flame thinner, but still glowing. She walks back and sits again at the desk, just for a few final moments. She opens her diary one last time, flips to a fresh page, and jots down a single line. The silence tonight felt like a friend. She lets that sentence sit there alone on the page. No need to explain it. No need to dress it up. It's enough. She blows out the candle. A soft puff of air, and the flame gives one last flutter before vanishing, leaving behind a curl of smoke that drifts gently upward. The room is dim now, lit only by the early light slipping in through the window. But it isn't dark. Not truly. It feels peaceful, settled, still. She places the pen in its tray, closes the diary. Her movements are slow, soft, deliberate. Nothing rushed. Nothing wasted. She smooths the surface of the desk with her hand, almost like saying thank you. Then she gathers the sealed envelope and walks quietly to the front hall. There's a small wooden box near the door, a letter drop for the morning postman. She opens it, lays the envelope inside, and closes the lid with a click so soft it barely stirs the air. The day has officially begun, but she's still in her nightdress, still in the hush of thought. She returns to the bedroom. The bed is made. Simple white sheets, one soft blanket folded neatly at the end. She pulls it up gently and slips beneath. The pillow is cool against her cheek. The cat curls up at her feet. From outside, the world is waking. A distant carriage rolls across cobblestone. A bird calls once, then again. Somewhere, a dog barks low and brief. But none of it feels loud. It's all part of the morning, part of the music of this quiet life. She closes her eyes, not to sleep again, just to rest, to hold on to the silence just a little longer before the world becomes busy again. The diary remains on the desk, the ink dry now, the words captured safely, the letter sealed, the thoughts shared. The room holds everything: whispers, hopes, memories, the soft sound of paper, and the careful glide of ink. It holds it all like a keepsake box that no one else can open. Outside the window, the sky continues to lighten, not with sudden brightness, but with soft gray-blue layers, like watercolor spreading slowly across paper. Another day has begun, but the hush of the evening, the letter, the candlelight, the silent reflection, they linger in the heart. And even as the noise of the world grows louder, even as the day unfolds, somewhere, quietly, those words on the page continue to live, waiting to be read, or remembered, or simply felt.